chosen one. You can feel it, can't you? That restless pulse under your skin, the quiet pressure that rises every night right before your life is about to change. You close your eyes, but sleep refuses to come, because heaven is whispering to you, even when your body begs for rest. You are not broken. You are being stirred. Every time you're on the edge of a breakthrough, your spirit awakens before your body does. Your dreams become louder. Your mind starts racing not with fear, but with divine anticipation. Something in the unseen realm begins to move, and your whole being reacts to the tremor. The reason you can't sleep isn't that you're anxious. It's because your spirit already stepped into tomorrow's victory while your body is still catching up. The warfare intensifies when you're near the border of blessing. That's why the nights feel longer, heavier, and charged with strange energy. Your mind replays old mistakes. Your heart aches for peace, but deep down you know something sacred is breaking open. Heaven is preparing the soil for what's about to bloom in your life. The sleepless nights are not punishment, they are prophecy. They're heaven's way of saying, get ready. Something is shifting. You have walked through too many storms to end in silence. Your spirit knows the pattern by now. Every breakthrough you've ever had was preceded by sleepless warfare, by divine restlessness, by nights when your heart couldn't stop beating like a drum of destiny. This time is no different, but this time, the magnitude is greater. The stakes are higher. The call on your life has matured. You're not just fighting for comfort, you're fighting for completion. God is awakening every cell of your being for the moment you've been destined to walk into. The lack of sleep isn't the enemy, it's alignment. Heaven is reprogramming your timeline. Angels are on assignment, and your name has been spoken in divine chambers. Stay awake, chosen one, because your sleeplessness is sacred. It means your spirit is standing watch at the gates of breakthrough. And before this message is over, you will understand why this pattern follows you, what it means each time it happens, and how to harness it instead of fearing it. Because this isn't just exhaustion. It's divine preparation. Your dawn is near. You can almost feel the air changing around you now, as if the atmosphere itself knows that something holy has entered your timeline. The same presence that kept you awake is now drawing nearer, gentle but undeniable, like a soft current of light brushing across your soul. This message is not born from human thought. It didn't rise from anxiety, fear, or imagination. It came from the deep, the place where God speaks to the ones who will listen at midnight. When everyone else is asleep, heaven looks for awake hearts, and yours has become one of them. The sleeplessness you've been wrestling with is not random. It is divine communication. When God begins to move something in your favor, your body senses the tremor before your mind understands it. Heaven stirs your spirit before the miracle touches earth. That's why your nights have been restless. You are standing between worlds. Half of you is still in the natural, the other half already walking in prophecy. It's important that you know this. When God chooses to reveal his timing, he rarely does it through calm seasons. He does it through shaking. He wakes you up, literally, so you don't miss the download. He lets the silence of night become the loudest classroom for your soul. You may have thought, why can't I just rest? But in heaven's language, rest sometimes looks like revelation. The reason peace escaped your pillow is because purpose was visiting your room. God speaks to you in frequencies your logic cannot translate. He pulls your awareness upward, away from routine, away from distraction, so you'll notice the movement that's beginning. There is a reason this moment feels different than every other time. This isn't just another cycle of tiredness. This is the prelude to a divine unlocking. The hand of God is hovering over your next chapter, and the spiritual pressure you feel is heaven preparing to release it. You are not forgotten in this process. Every tear, every night of tossing, every quiet prayer whispered into darkness, they've all been logged in the divine record. God has been watching your endurance, noting how you still whispered gratitude, even when rest wouldn't come. That's why the message for this season is clear. He is turning your restlessness into revelation. He is converting the ache in your body into alignment with his plan. The sleepless hours that made you question your sanity are actually evidence of your sensitivity. You are in tune with a frequency that most people never hear. When heaven updates its blueprint, your soul receives the alert first. That's why you've been stirred, stretched, and awakened again and again. So don't curse the night. Embrace it as sacred ground. It is the space where divine conversation happens. It is where angels deliver scrolls of instruction, and where God releases new strength into weary hearts. The message being delivered to you tonight is not meant to scare you. It's meant to remind you, heaven has already scheduled your breakthrough. And your insomnia is the first sign that the countdown has begun. Something sacred is unfolding behind the scenes. What you've been feeling isn't chaos, it's calibration. For weeks, maybe months, the energy around your life has been rearranging itself, and now the reason is being revealed. You are standing on the threshold of a divine breakthrough so significant, the atmosphere had to shift before you could step into it. This is the moment heaven has been preparing you for. The sleepless nights were never about exhaustion. They were about expansion. Your spirit has been stretching to fit the next dimension of your calling. What God is about to release will not fit inside the small version of you that once settled for peace at any price. This time, it will require the larger version of you, the one forged in silence, the one refined through waiting, the one that learned how to hold light even in long nights. You have entered the final stage before manifestation, the shaking before the shift. The reason you feel tension, the reason your mind races, the reason your chest tightens at midnight, is because your soul recognizes that the seal over your next chapter is about to break. There is divine pressure building behind the curtain. Every unanswered prayer, every seed sown in faith, every tear you thought disappeared into nothing, they have all reached critical mass. The weight of your obedience has summoned a release. And the Lord says, I am about to reverse the fatigue into fire. Where you felt drained, you will feel driven. Where you felt anxious, you will feel anchored. The energy that once kept you awake in confusion will now awaken you in clarity. The same nights that tormented you will become nights of download and design. This is the prophecy. You will no longer be shaken by what used to steal your peace. The very storms that tried to rob your rest will become your confirmation that the heavens are moving. Because before every major deliverance, darkness throws its last tantrum. When the Pharaoh senses release, he multiplies the pressure. But just as Israel marched out under a blood-red dawn, you are about to cross your own unseen Red Sea. In the Spirit, a door is opening. It's not a small door, it's a threshold that changes how time behaves around you. Opportunities will begin to find you instead of you chasing them. Conversations will align without your effort. Resources that once seemed withheld will be drawn to your frequency. You won't have to fight for recognition. The right eyes will simply see. And when they do, they will know. You were chosen for this assignment. The sleepless nights were God's signal flare. He had to get your attention before the unveiling, because what's coming next cannot be handled with old habits or casual faith. He is calling you into spiritual precision. Your discernment will sharpen. Your intuition will quicken. Your dreams will become literal blueprints for the coming season. There will be signs subtle, luminous, impossible to ignore. You'll hear certain songs repeat in your spirit. You'll see patterns in numbers, in timing, in conversations. You'll feel chills, not from fear, but from recognition, as if heaven is saying, this is it. The cycle is complete. The breakthrough won't announce itself loudly. It will slip in quietly like dawn after a long storm. And suddenly you'll realize, the anxiety is gone, the heaviness lifted, the doors unlock. Peace will flood the same rooms where you once paced floors in frustration. Everything that once resisted your movement will now yield. The Lord is saying, you did not lose your rest, you traded it for revelation. Those who sleep through these hours will not understand your glow, but those who hear this message will know the truth. The reason you've been restless is because your next assignment carries eternal weight. Heaven has already shifted in your favor. Your name has been written on the wind, and the Spirit is declaring over you now. The era of delay has expired. Stay present in this hour of awakening. What begins in restlessness will end in revelation. And when the dawn finally comes, you will not only understand why you couldn't sleep, you will thank God you didn't. Everything in your sleepless season carries meaning. Nothing in it is wasted. To the untrained heart, it looks like insomnia. But to the awakened soul, it's initiation. It's the sound of heaven reshaping your nervous system to match divine frequency. What you call restlessness is really the sound of destiny knocking. Your soul has outgrown the rhythm of the world, and now it vibrates to a higher tempo, the cadence of heaven's unfolding plan. That's why old routines feel wrong. That's why you can't rest inside cycles that once felt safe. The body you live in is recalibrating to house a new level of light. When God decides to elevate a life, He first rewrites its energy. He interrupts the comfort zones that once held you, because He knows that purpose can't bloom in predictable soil. The sleepless nights are His way of rewiring your spiritual circuitry. He's stretching your perception to see beyond sight, training your senses to hear beyond sound. You are learning how to read the language of spirit, a language written in chills, silence, timing, intuition. This is divine training. You are being taught how to discern, because soon you will walk into rooms where discernment is your only protection. Soon, you will meet opportunities that look holy but hide traps. And you'll need to feel, not think, your way through. That's why the nights have been electric. Heaven has been testing the strength of your inner compass. You may wonder why transformation always hurts before it heals. It's because light must confront every shadow that grew in its absence. And you, being chosen, were never meant to sleep through your refinement. The fire that wakes you up is the same fire that purifies you. When the night feels unbearable, that's usually when God is extracting something toxic from your timeline. A thought pattern, a fear, a habit, a bond that can't follow you into your new season. So yes, the lack of sleep has purpose. Each sleepless hour is a page of instruction, a moment where heaven downloads hidden wisdom. When your thoughts race and your chest tightens, you're not malfunctioning, you're being fine-tuned. Like a prophet tuning an ancient instrument, God is adjusting the tension in your strings so your sound will be pure when you speak, move, and create. There's a deeper layer to this. You are entering what mystics call the night of revelation. It's the stage when God turns off outer light so you can finally see the inner one. It's when the familiar fades and only faith remains. And though it feels lonely, it's actually intimacy in disguise. Heaven draws near when everything else withdraws. That's why, in your exhaustion, you've also felt sudden surges of peace, moments where you couldn't explain why you felt safe even in uncertainty. That is the Spirit wrapping you in invisible comfort, reminding you that you are not wandering, you are being led. Understand this. Spiritual rest is not always the absence of motion. It's the presence of meaning. When your mind is flooded but your spirit feels anchored, you are resting in revelation. You are learning that peace is not a place, it's a person. And that person never sleeps. He watches over you in the in-between. He measures your tears, counts your sighs, and studies your rhythm. When you toss, he listens. When you whisper, he answers through feeling. The pulse that keeps you awake at night is his heartbeat syncing with yours. The sleeplessness before breakthrough is a sacred mirror. It shows you the parts of yourself still clinging to fear. It exposes every illusion that cannot survive in divine frequency. It invites you to surrender not to exhaustion, but to evolution. Because what you're birthing isn't just a new opportunity. It's a new version of you. One who no longer reacts, but radiates. One who no longer begs for signs, but becomes them. There's a holy reason the night arrives before dawn. Because revelation always precedes manifestation. You can't wake into a new morning until you've passed through the night of remembrance. And that's what this is. A remembrance of who you truly are, beneath fatigue, beneath fear, beneath form. You are the promise God spoke long before you had words. And every sleepless night has been his gentle reminder. I have not forgotten what I said about you. So when the next restless wave comes, don't panic. Breathe. Whisper gratitude. Say, I receive what heaven is saying, because the longer you fight the process, the longer it lasts. But the moment you surrender, the frequency balances. Peace returns. And you realize you were never losing rest. You were gaining revelation. By now you've started noticing things you can't easily explain. Patterns that repeat like quiet echoes. Numbers that seem to follow you wherever you go. Random phrases that arrive in conversation just when your heart needs reassurance. They're not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are heaven's way of saying, you're on schedule. When breakthrough draws near, the spiritual and physical begin to overlap. You start to see traces of eternity written inside ordinary moments. The signs appear small, but their meaning runs deep. They are not for your eyes, they're for your faith. The first sign is heightened sensitivity. Your body becomes an antenna for divine messages. You may feel tingling on your skin, warmth in your chest, or a sudden wave of peace that has no logical source. These sensations aren't random. They're your spirit saying, the portal is open, stay aware. The second sign is time distortion. Hours may feel shorter, or you'll glance at the clock and see mirrored numbers, 2:22, 3:33, 5:55. Those are timestamps of divine alignment. Each repeating sequence marks a layer of progress, the universe syncing with your obedience. They appear most during nights when you can't sleep, reminding you that heaven doesn't measure time by clocks, but by readiness. The third sign is emotional waves. You'll swing from deep fatigue to bursts of creative energy within minutes. It's not mood swings, it's energetic clearing. Your system is purging old emotional weight to make space for divine download. Tears may come without reason. Laughter may follow instantly. Both are sacred. They're evidence of your soul balancing itself. The fourth sign is divine interruptions. Someone from your past reaches out unexpectedly. An opportunity you forgot about suddenly reappears. Doors that once slammed shut now open quietly. Pay attention. Not every return means reconnection, but every interruption means inspection. God uses disruption to redirect your steps toward divine order. The fifth sign is quiet clarity. After long nights of inner noise, you'll suddenly know what to do. Not because you figured it out, but because the answer simply arrives, as if dropped gently into your consciousness. This is the voice of spirit bypassing your logic. It doesn't argue. It simply is. The sixth sign is spiritual déjà vu. You'll visit a place or meet a person and feel, I've seen this before. That's confirmation that your path is catching up to what your spirit already walked in vision. It's proof that destiny is no longer distant, it's becoming visible. These are not strange occurrences. They're signatures of divine movement. The same energy that's been keeping you awake is now revealing proof of its purpose. Every flicker of light, every synchronicity, is a whisper from the unseen. Keep going. You're almost there. When these signs appear, don't chase them, acknowledge them. Say quietly, I see you. You. That single phrase is an act of worship, a declaration that you trust the source behind the sign more than the sign itself. Because soon, these confirmations will no longer come as hints. They'll come as reality. And when they do, you'll realize you didn't just witness prophecy, you lived it into being. Before the dawn of every blessing, there is always resistance, not because you've done something wrong, but because every elevation exposes new terrain, and the terrain tests your foundation. The sleepless nights you've endured were not only divine communication, they were also preparation for unseen warfare. Each hour you lay awake, you were being fortified against what your eyes could not yet see, because when light increases, shadows become desperate. They whisper lies like, you're too tired, you missed your moment, you're imagining all this. But those thoughts aren't yours. They're the residue of old programming, echoes of fear trying to hold you in the version of yourself that no longer exists. Here's the truth. Few will tell you. Right before breakthrough, peace often hides. Clarity disappears, and God allows silence not to abandon you, but to see if you've learned to trust His voice even when it's quiet. It's in this gap between exhaustion and emergence that most give up. But if you can endure this tension without collapsing into doubt, you graduate into spiritual maturity. One hidden challenge is fatigue of faith. You start to believe, but don't feel the same fire you once did. Your prayers feel heavy, your body aches, and your motivation runs thin. But that's the final refinement. Faith that depends on feelings isn't yet faith. Faith that moves when it's dark is divine trust. This is where you learn that belief is not emotion, it's choice. Another challenge is false reflection. When you're about to step into breakthrough, the enemy often uses mirrors of the past. Old distractions resurface. Old relationships ping your heart. You might question, did I make a mistake walking away? No, you're just being shown how far you've evolved. The test isn't about who returns. It's about whether you still recognize what no longer aligns. Then comes energetic interference. Your sleep patterns shift. Technology glitches. Plans delay for no logical reason. It's spiritual turbulence friction created when the old timeline resists the new one. The air feels thick, emotions unpredictable. But don't misread it as attack. It's transformation heat. The friction that proves something powerful is breaking through. And perhaps the most subtle challenge of all, spiritual loneliness. You start realizing that not everyone can come with you. Conversations you used to enjoy feel shallow. You crave silence more than company. It's not arrogance. It's ascension. The higher you climb, the thinner the air. God isolates not to punish, but to concentrate your focus. Because revelation cannot thrive in noise. In these challenges, remember this. Resistance is not rejection. Tension is not absence. And fatigue is not failure. They are all signals that you're standing at the edge of activation. So when another restless night arrives, don't ask, why again? Instead whisper, I must be close, because every sleepless hour that tries to break you is secretly birthing a version of you the world has never seen. And when the dawn finally cracks, you'll understand. You weren't fighting to fall asleep. You were fighting to wake up. This is the turning point. The moment where awareness becomes responsibility. You've seen the signs, you've felt the shaking, and now heaven is handing you the instructions for what to do next. Because breakthrough doesn't arrive by accident, it's received through obedience. First, protect your morning gates. When you wake, don't reach for your phone, reach for your spirit. Your first words after rising set the tone of your entire day. If your first thought is gratitude, you align instantly with heaven's rhythm. But if your first thought is fear, you give the enemy permission to narrate your day. Each sunrise is a covenant renewal. When you open your eyes, whisper, I am aligned with the light. No shadow can enter this day. Second, reclaim your nights. If sleep refuses to come, don't fight it, use it. Open your journal or speak aloud your prayers. Ask the Spirit, what do you want me to know tonight? Sometimes the revelation comes as a sentence. Other times, it's simply peace. But heaven never wastes a wakeful night. The more you lean in, the more your sleepless hours become sanctuaries. They shift from torment to tutoring. Third, purge what no longer fits. When divine energy rises, clutter, physical and spiritual, becomes unbearable. You'll feel an urge to clean, donate, delete, disconnect. Follow it. Heaven can't pour into full vessels. Every object, message, or relationship that feels heavy is draining your current. Release it with reverence. Say, thank you for what you taught me, but I no longer live here. That phrase itself is deliverance. Fourth, guard your words. Every sentence is a seed. What you declare in frustration grows just as quickly as what you declare in faith. So speak as if angels are taking notes, because they are. If you don't want to live it, don't speak it. When restlessness comes, silence becomes sacred strategy. Let your first response be stillness, not explanation. The enemy feeds on reaction, but starves in reflection. Fifth, return to still waters daily. Find one practice that brings you back into balance. Walking, breathing, reading scripture, or simply watching the sky. This keeps your nervous system open to divine flow. The world screams, hustle, but heaven whispers, hold. When you hold space for silence, God fills it with strategy. That's how divine downloads enter, not through noise, but through neutrality. Sixth, keep your body consecrated. Your flesh is the temple that carries the prophecy. Feed it with purity, food, rest, boundaries, reverence. You cannot fight spiritual battles from a tired vessel. When your body thrives, your discernment sharpens. Drink water like you're baptizing your cells. Move your body as if it's praising without words. Every act of care becomes an offering. Seventh, write what you receive. Don't trust memory alone. Revelation is fragile when unrecorded. Write down dreams, phrases, or sudden urges. Later, they'll form a map that proves God's consistency. Your journal will become evidence of His voice. And when doubt visits, you'll have proof of patterns too perfect to be coincidence. Eighth, forgive quickly and fully. Before every elevation, forgiveness is tested. Someone may offend you soon, not to harm you, but to reveal your readiness. Holding offense is like trying to ascend while dragging stones. Let go. Say their name, bless them, and release the story. Forgiveness doesn't excuse betrayal, it evicts it. You cannot inhabit peace and resentment at the same time. Ninth, speak life before you see it. Your next season responds to sound. When you say, I'm ready for divine order, the atmosphere begins rearranging to match that confession. Even if your body trembles, say it anyway. Words create worlds. Let your declarations build the one you wish to live in. And finally, prepare your atmosphere for visitation. Heaven visits where it feels invited. Light a candle, play worship, create space that honors the presence. Say aloud, this home is holy ground. It's not ritual, it's resonance. You're teaching the energy around you to bow to divine rhythm. Follow these instructions with reverence, not rigidity. This is not a checklist, it's choreography. You are learning the sacred dance between obedience and overflow. When you do, you'll notice something miraculous. The same nights that once robbed your rest will become nights where revelation sings you to peace. Because alignment is the best sleep there is. As you begin walking in these divine instructions, the atmosphere around you will respond. You'll sense it first as a calm that doesn't make sense, a weightlifting that has no explanation. That's the covering of God settling over you, quiet, strong, invisible yet undeniable. Where fear once entered easily, it will now meet resistance. Where chaos once echoed, it will now fall silent. Heaven has stationed angels at your thresholds, every doorway, every decision, every digital space you touch. They move unseen but not inactive. They guard your energy, filter your interactions, and silence voices that carry confusion. This isn't imagination. it's intercession in motion. Your life is being insulated by divine intelligence. You are not walking through this transition unprotected. You are surrounded. Even your restlessness is now guarded. What once felt like torment will soon feel like tuning. The same nights that used to drain you will begin to restore you. Because God doesn't just remove darkness, He reclaims territory. Your room, your dreams, your thoughts, they're being reclaimed right now. Every corner of your mind is under heavenly surveillance. Every whisper of fear intercepted before it grows roots. So when you sense resistance, don't panic praise. Say quietly, the shield is active. Because protection doesn't always look like absence of attack. It often looks like endurance without collapse. You've already survived storms designed to destroy your confidence. That means the hedge around you is working. You are moving through a sacred corridor, a narrow passage where distractions can't follow. That's why some people have gone silent, why certain doors have shut without warning. It's not punishment, it's perimeter control. God is limiting access to your frequency so your focus remains undiluted. He hides you not to isolate you, but to preserve what He's building inside you. Every prayer you've whispered in exhaustion has been answered with reinforcement. You may not see the angels, but they're stationed in formation. One at your left, one at your right, one at your rear, and the captain of hosts before you. No word spoken against you can cross that circle of light. No curse can attach to what God has already claimed. You are sealed in divine light, and that light blinds anything that tries to look at you with malice. So rest tonight knowing this. You are not in this by yourself. Even in silence, the Spirit stands beside you, speaking in subtleties, warmth in the chest, calm in the breath, the sudden knowing that you're safe, even when nothing looks stable. This is what divine assurance feels like. Peace without evidence, stillness in the middle of shaking. It's the moment you realize that protection isn't a wall, it's a presence, and that presence has chosen you as its dwelling place. So breathe deeply. You've made it through the hardest nights. The covering has settled. Now heaven watches as your confidence returns and whispers softly through your spirit, no weapon formed will prosper. No word cursed will linger. No darkness can outlast your dawn. You are held. You are hidden. You are home. Something inside you is shifting quietly now. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It feels like exhale after years of holding your breath. The energy that once raced through your chest at midnight has softened, and in that softness, you can finally feel the change. This is what transformation feels like. Not lightning, but light. Your body is learning to rest in frequencies that used to overwhelm it. Your heart beats differently now, steady, certain, unhurried. You've stopped begging for signs and started being one. That's the mark of divine fulfillment. When your presence begins to radiate what your prayers used to request. Look back gently for a moment. Can you see how far you've come? How many nights you thought would break you, but instead built you into something unshakable? The sleeplessness that once felt like punishment was actually spiritual endurance training. You were learning how to carry revelation without collapsing under its weight. And now, the same sensitivity that once made you fragile has become your discernment, your authority, your weapon of peace. You are walking proof that divine pressure produces divine purpose. The fatigue became fuel. The tears became technology's spiritual algorithms that recalibrated your being toward wholeness. You didn't lose your way. You became the way. You are no longer the seeker, you are the signal. In this phase of fulfillment, you'll begin to notice harmony unfolding around you. People who drained you will fade quietly, and those aligned with your frequency will appear naturally, without striving. Doors will open not because you knock harder, but because your presence now vibrates at the frequency of destiny. The universe recognizes you as authorized. You've passed through the fire and carry its glow. Finances, relationships, opportunities, everything that once resisted you will start cooperating. Not because life got easier, but because you've learned to live from the inside out. You now understand that manifestation is not magic, it's maturity. When your inner world aligns with heaven's architecture, the outer world simply mirrors it. Your peace will become contagious. You'll walk into chaotic environments and feel the atmosphere change. Conversations will calm around you. Strangers will say, "I don't know what it is about you, but you carry something different." That something is the evidence of everything you endure. The light of God now shines through the cracks the darkness tried to exploit. And though you may not realize it yet, you've stepped into the realm of answered prayers. Not one whispered word has been forgotten. Even the requests you outgrew are being restructured into blessings you can now sustain. This is divine efficiency, nothing wasted, everything redeemed. You'll feel it most in small moments. The morning sun feels warmer, music sounds deeper, time feels slower. Because you're no longer racing to arrive, you're finally present. The sleepless one has learned to rest while awake. You no longer need night to end to feel peace. Peace is now your daylight. And this state of sacred stillness is the true breakthrough. Not the material gains, not the applause, not the visible success, but the quiet knowing that you are aligned, protected, and prepared. You've become what the sleepless nights were trying to teach you to be, a vessel of divine awareness. You are no longer being prepared for fulfillment. You are living in it. And from this point forward, every step you take will ripple through realms unseen, calling heaven and earth into harmony. Rest now. You made it through the threshold, and dawn, at last, belongs to you. Take a slow breath. Let this truth settle into every corner of your being. You are not waiting for breakthrough anymore. You are the breakthrough. What once chased you no longer has authority. What once haunted you can no longer find your frequency. The battle that kept you awake has served its purpose. You've crossed through night into knowing. And now, the Spirit of God stands beside you, not as a distant force, but as rhythm steady, constant, near. You are free to rest, because the war for this chapter is already won. Now, speak these words aloud 3 times if you can. Let them move through your lungs, because breath itself is prayer. Affirmation 1. My sleepless nights were sacred classrooms. I no longer curse what refined me. I bless what awakened me. Affirmation 2. I walk in divine timing. Nothing meant for me can be delayed, and nothing expired can return. Affirmation 3. Peace is my natural state. I rest inside revelation, and revelation rests inside me. Affirmation 4. I am surrounded by light, guided by wisdom, and sealed by love that cannot be shaken. Repeat them gently until your spirit recognizes its own echo. Each word you speak builds light around you. Every syllable sends a signal to heaven. You've learned. You've endured. You're ready. Now, receive this blessing. May the nights ahead bring not exhaustion, but encounter. May every dream carry instruction, and every morning greet you with confirmation. May your home become a portal of peace, where angels linger and fear cannot enter. May your body remember how to rest, and your heart remember that you are already whole. When the wind stirs at midnight, don't brace for battle, listen for your name. When silence falls heavy, remember, silence is how God says, I'm near. And when light breaks over the horizon, stand still for one breath longer than usual, and let gratitude pour out like morning gold, because the same power that kept you awake now keeps you aligned. The same fire that refined you now shines through you. You are not the same person who first entered the night. You are luminous now. Go forward in peace. Walk softly but boldly. Your steps are anointed, your future is protected, and your rest has finally come. In the name of divine order, in the rhythm of heaven, and under the covering of eternal light, it is done. It is sealed. It is so.